Welcome to A Canadian Investing in the U.S., a podcast and YouTube channel focused on Canadians buying real estate with host Glenn Sutherland.
Well, welcome to another episode of Canadian Investing in the U.S. This week, my guest is Grant Burwash. Grant, tell us a bit about yourself, and then we'll jump right into your amazing company and how it can help all these other real estate investors.
Yeah, good, Glenn. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to speak with you today. This podcast is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. Bit about my background is I actually got exposed to the rental industry by my parents. They were landlords themselves, so I grew up helping them with their properties and started investing myself in real estate in my early 20s. Since then, I've gone on to a bunch of deals across Canada and the US, everything from development to land syndication to being a landlord. And in that time, I moved around quite a bit. So I've been a tenant and a landlord, which gave me excellent background and experience for my current role as a VP at Landlord Credit Bureau. So it's looking forward to our conversation today.
Awesome. So for people who don't know that service, let's talk about the service, and then I'll have some questions for you, and we'll see if we can show everybody how amazing this is, because we had a preliminary conversation about this, and off the start I was just like, man, yeah, it sounds like a great product, but I don't know if it's something I'll need. But by the end of it, I'm like, I am signing up. So let's get everybody else on board. Tell me a bit about it.
For sure. So we are a consumer reporting agency, or more commonly known as a credit bureau. And what Landlord Credit Bureau aims to do is bring transparency and accountability to the rental industry in a way that hasn't been done before. And our main offering is that we allow rent to finally impact the tenant's credit. And what this means is that every month the tenant pays on time, their credit positively is impacted, and every month there's a late payment or delinquency, their credit is negatively impacted. What we've seen is this is a very powerful reward for the vast majority of tenants that do pay their rent on time, as there's this real reward that they get. And for those delinquent tenants, we see for our landlords, a 36% reduction in those late payments and delinquencies, which saves them a lot of time, money, and helps improve their returns.
Awesome. Does the tenant have to agree to this?
Podcast is, no, so consent is never required to utilize Landlord Credit Bureau. So the way our system works is you can load all your tenants within our system, and if they are a great tenant and have a history of paying on time, they get to choose to opt in to having their information shared with Equifax to positively impact their credit. For delinquent tenants, consent is never required. So that information can be reported to Equifax without any consent ever.
Awesome. This is really exciting stuff. Like when we were talking before, like I mentioned, what some people might be, I just don't want anyone tuning out yet. Because if you're doing just regular rentals in Canada and the US, it is actually, especially in Canada, it is actually a way to report, which there is. This is really important, right, to get this out there, because right now that's one of the big weaknesses with the Canadian market is that there's no the tenants are never on the hook for anything. Like they don't have it. The evictions, if they go through an eviction, it's not public record like it is in the United States. So this is very, very important feature to have. And for people who do, like, say, lease options, like a lot of people are getting more and more into lease options, which is like a rent to own program. It could be a way to help your tenant qualify to purchase the property from you.
Absolutely. Yeah, when you look at that tenant side, there is a lot of benefits. A vast majority of the tenants on our system are receiving the benefit of having their credit boosted by getting credit for their largest monthly expense. So specific markets is new to Canada, new to the US. You have individuals that have obtained their first rental, they're looking to build that credit. Lease to own options is great. Student housing is also good, or just anybody that's looking to qualify for a mortgage or a better auto loan in the future. This is the great way that you can help boost that. And one of the great benefits is you start to see our platform create this collaboration and open communication between a landlord and tenant. So if a tenant knows that they are coming on hard times, or they might be a couple days late, they tend to proactively reach out, knowing that this could impact their credit. And as a landlord, what you're really trying to do is obviously provide housing, have exceptional returns, but you're really looking to develop a relationship between you and that tenant that is mutually beneficial. And that's one huge benefit from our platform, is we provide a medium for those conversations that, a time right now where you do have a lot of people that have been negatively impacted by COVID. We have a lot of tenants that have gone on payment plans that have been registered with our system. And so they're still getting the benefit of improving their credit as long as they're actually paying according to that plan. So, everything from that lease to own to, student housing to people on payment plans, there's a lot of benefits for both the landlord and the tenant by utilizing our services.
Incredible. So you're saying that this is in Canada and the US, so you're able to report on a social security number, you're able to report on a social insurance number. Are you able to report on an ITIN?
So we actually don't need socials or,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so how our system operates is you need first name, last name, obviously the property details, as well as you need a date of birth and an email address. So date of birth, properties, and the personal information is what we use to secure that trade line with Equifax. And as you report to us, that is kind of the information that we need. So the other aspect that you mentioned earlier that I wanted to circle back to is you're not only having the ability to impact the tenant's credit, but you also are building up a tenant record within Landlord Credit Bureau. And what this is it shows that month-by-month breakdown of what their payment history has been, as well as it will show any sort of reviews that the landlord has provided on them. So as a landlord, there's questions that you would want to know. For example, was there ever a judgment against them? Did they move out providing appropriate notice? Was there noise complaints or those sort of aspects? And so this is a way that you as a landlord can write reviews for your former tenants and inform future landlords about how your experience was with that individual. And so when an individual is maybe moving across borders, or they're just trying to obtain tenancy in a different market or at a new place, they can share the Landlord Credit Bureau tenancy record in order to help them obtain tenancy in a future place.
That's incredible. So when you're doing your screening for a tenant, then you could also pull this. Where did they pull this? Where is this information going? Is it going, like you mentioned Equifax? Is it coming from like Equifax site, or is it coming from your site directly, or how do they get that information if you're doing a screening?
Yeah, so you can get it directly from our website. So obviously credit checks are one component of screening, where you also have a tenant record that you can search within our site for the Landlord Credit Bureau tenancy record, which is pulled directly from an account that you can create with us for free.
Awesome. And so all of this reports to Equifax. It doesn't go to Experian, it doesn't go to TransUnion. Am I right there?
That's correct. At this time, we only are sharing information with Equifax in the form of a trade line.
Oh, that's good. It's still good though.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then who is doing the reporting? Is it the owner? Is it the property manager? Who does the actual paperwork for filing with you guys?
It can be either. So we do have individuals of all sizes from 1 unit to thousands of units, and it's usually the person closest with rent collection. So if a landlord is using a property manager, either of them can initiate the account, but it's often the property manager that is updating the system. Now, what is important to note is that with our system, we have a lot of defaults to make the ongoing maintenance very minimal for any landlord. And using landlord is a broad sweeping term here, as pretty much anyone using it, property manager or landlord. And so our system defaults that every month a tenant stays the same and a tenant is reported as paying on time. So the only time that you would update the system is if there is a late payment or delinquency.
Yep.
And you can use some of our automated communication tools in there as far as rental reminders, late payment notifications, as well as any tenant that is loaded in our system gets a welcome email informing them of the benefits as well as the consequences of not paying their rent.
Gotcha. So you said automated. Does this, or maybe I'll be suggesting a feature for the future. Does this add on to like any of the property management software? Is there like something you could just have an add-on and it would just automatically do it?
Yeah, so we're currently working for different integrations to work more closely with some of the prop tech companies.
Yep.
Right now, there's simple exports and loads that we can utilize with all the major ones, which make it simple to get started and simple to use on a monthly basis. But we're always looking for ways to enhance our offerings for our individuals. So I always encourage, if you're looking for that type of feature, always just reach out to us, because the more we understand about how you're looking to operate your business, the better we can make sure that our features adjust in the future according to the way that you operate.
That's excellent. What other things do I need to know about this software? It sounds incredible. What's the price of this software? The people are going, probably in their heads are going, this sounds great, but is this going to is this going to cost me as much as a property manager every month? What are we looking at here?
Yeah, so the way we operate is you have a premium membership, which is $19.99 a month, and then it's 60 cents per current tenant that you're reporting on. When you're looking at reporting on former tenants, that's a one-time payment of either $19.99 or $39.99, depending on if you remember or not. And the ability to search our database is also a small one-time payment. So, when you're thinking at that ongoing maintenance, assuming you have 10 units that you're reporting on, it's going to come out to about $26 a month, being $19.99 a month plus 10 times 60 cents. Yep. So very, very manageable, and yep. It's a great assurance in cash flow. As you think of a landlord, this is a way that you can provide an additional benefit to help attract and retain those great tenants, as well as to just make sure that your individuals aren't becoming delinquent, and it does have a big impact on your bottom line.
Makes a lot of sense. I love it. Is there anything else I should ask about this software, or something else I should know?
Yeah, for sure. So right away, before you start using our system, or when you do decide to start using our system, you can report on all your current tenants, as I said, without consent. But we do also provide clauses that you can put in your leases and your applications. And what this does is it helps spark that conversation with potential tenants that this is something you are going to be doing. And I use the terminology attract and retain those great tenants. This is really helping those tenants that are intentionally delinquent to self-select out of choosing your properties. Whereas it'll help you attract those tenants that are keen on having their large expense impact their credit, whether it's a lease to own option or whether it's just someone that is diligent in paying their rent. This is a really good way to help attract them to your properties. When you then look on the other side of it, we do also allow current and former tenants to be reported. So in the US, you can report on any outstanding debts from the past 7 years, whereas in Canada, you can report on any outstanding debts from the past 6 years. And that's just aligned with the credit bureau legality that we have to operate within.
Okay, and this has to be, just curious, this has to be for between like a tenant and a landlord or a property manager. It can't be like other types of debt, or like I know some people have other side hustles or side businesses. Does it work for other things or just for rental agreements?
It's just for rental agreements.
Okay. Good. That's good to know. Yeah, and it's nice and niche. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we do have some commercial as well. As far as rental opportunities, I think the vast majority of listeners to the show are in the multifamily or single family housing. But if you do have commercial that does have a personal guarantor on, then that can work. Something like storage down in the US. I know we have a few individuals that are reporting on self-storage and things like that. So there's a bunch of periphery offerings that we can utilize, but it's still the general rental industry.
That's great. I love it. Grant, if people wanted to track you down, find your company information, maybe you want to list your website or places we can find you.
Yeah, so there's a lot of information on landlordcreditbureau.com. You can create an account for free. We've got a bunch of resources, and right within there, you can reach out to our support, or you simply email us at support@landlordcreditbureau.com, and our team's happy to help you. So, this is typically something that individuals haven't done before. We're the only ones in Canada that enable this to happen. And so what I encourage you is check out our website, create an account, poke around, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our team, and we're more than happy to help you get started and get you on the pathway to help continue to improve your returns, whether they're in Canada or the US.
Yep. And I will be going there. I'll put the link in the show notes as well if people want to find a quick link to get there. But it's so affordable. I don't see why anyone, especially in Canada, every single person who's a landlord, even with a single property, should be doing this. But anyway, thank you so much for this. I think that this has incredible value across both countries, basically North America. I guess mine's Mexico, but it's blown away. I really appreciate you coming on the show, Grant. I think a lot of people are going to get tremendous value out of this product.
Yeah, thanks, Glenn. I agree. I believe in it a lot. It's obviously, as a landlord and a tenant, I see the value of it. So I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today, and keep on doing your good work. It's a lot of fun listening to you.
Thanks a lot, Grant.
All right.